Morristown.
All right, Saturday evening, last live stream of 2023. Hope everyone's doing good. And yeah, thanks for joining. Wanted to update you guys on how things are looking up here on Revelstoke Mountain. Got a couple of laps in, at lunchtime today, just to suss things out. Since the last the vlogs, we've not had any new snow. Today I actually got quite warm, high up again. The freezing level jumped up all the way to about 2300. So yeah, we're really kind of warmed up today, and again we've just kind of had that cloud and sunny period. The good news is, as you can see from the title of the live stream, is that there is snow in the forecast tonight and into tomorrow. So I'm going to get into that a little bit. I can see there's a couple of people who are watching live, so make sure to say hi in the comments, get your questions in. Of course, we'll read them out, and we'll get into those. So the base right now, again, no real significant change. We're on 105 centimeter depth at the base right now. I got a couple of runs in on the groomers, and right now it's very thin in terms of the snow coverage. Quite icy. I found I was wearing my QST blank Solomons today with quite sharp edges, and they were very slippy. Like I wasn't getting much grip on those runs, just because there's been so little snow for them to kind of groom, you know, and keep any sort of bring any new corduroy. So it's slick, it's fast out there. In the bowls, it's soft snow, because it has for the most part stayed pretty cold up there. But a lot of it is now tracked out. So tonight is where we're due to get this snow in. So the good news is that the freezing level is dropping back down to around 1300, 1400 meters. Alpine temperature of -2. The south or west ridge wind is coming back. It's going to be sort of in between 10 to 30 kilometers an hour. They're saying tonight, cloudy with scattered flurries, that's going to bring 5 centimeters, and then going to roll that into Sunday morning, with potentially another 5 centimeters. So hopefully that is bringing us 10 centimeters in the Alpine, fresh ahead of New Year's Eve, which is great news. And I'm hoping it does arrive. Potentially as well, maybe the odd flurry going into Monday right now. But, you know, beyond that right now, the forecast is it keeps changing day by day. So, yeah, I mean, lower down in the valley, the freezing level, it's hovering around that 0 to +1 right now. So we're still not going to be seeing any improvements of the skiing conditions below the gondola. I actually did a run from the last spike and was able to join on to a mixture of Fella Buncher and Woolly Bully. It had been groomed, but it was very, very thin coverage, and there was it was like an ice sheet. So yeah, wasn't worth it, to be honest. And I don't recommend anybody skiing down past the gondola right now. You can ride the last spike, of course, to the mid station, and then you still have to download. They have been using the snow cannons a little bit earlier this week on that little run-in at the bottom of the gondola, but until they get real significant snow on those lower sections, they're just not going to be able to open up any of the connectors there. Going further into next week, it looks like Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, early part of the week, is going to be very much a mix of sun and cloud again. So hovering around that average Revy temperature of -5 to -7 on the Alpine, freezing level all the way back down to low, but just not bringing any precipitation until potentially next weekend. Now, again, reiterating my point about how much things are changing right now. Yesterday, we were looking ahead to this coming Friday, and they're saying that there was going to be 10 to 15 centimeters this coming Friday. You refresh and look at the local forecast now, and it's changed to 6 centimeters. You refresh it tomorrow, it could say something else. Normally, I've found in the previous winters here at Revy, you could look 1 or 2 days in advance with some degree of certainty. But right now, it's hard to even tell if that's gonna come. So yeah, I'm hoping this 10 centimeters comes tonight, and can finally get out and get some good skiing tomorrow. I think we've got 6 or 7 people watching on the live stream. So hi guys. It's hey, thanks for popping in. Is the very bottom open? No. You can only ski right now down to the mid station via the last spike. Technically, you could ski down all the runs below, but it's at your own risk. They're not groomed. There's very little snow coverage. So yeah, if you're doing that, be prepared to wear some rock skis and get stuck. It's just not recommended. To be honest with you. So because the top half of the mountain is the only thing that's really been open, it's felt quite busy. Coupled with Christmas week and the New Year week. Revelstoke, I actually think, has probably had some of the better conditions out of anywhere in BC right now, just because of how everyone else is doing. And I know on the West Coast, it's been a real problem, especially at places like Whistler and Grouse and all those hills there. So despite our lack of snow, having over a meter base is more than a lot of people have right now. I don't know. There just seems to be no real change to those conditions, and maybe it's a repeat of last year where it all turned around mid-February, and then we just got endless storms. But it's so hard to predict right now, and I imagine there's got to be some concern. There's a lot of people who've been commenting on the videos and in the shorts about the lack of snow. A lot of people pretty down in the dumps about it, and I feel you. You just got to stay positive at this point, because it's out of your hands. But obviously, for anyone who's planning trips, I know there's a lot at stake with travel plans, logistics, financials, that type of thing. Yeah, just got to stay positive. What are you seeing? Obviously, I know forecasting is your specialty. It definitely seems like things have just been quite volatile the last couple of weeks. Are you seeing anything promising in the next week or two? Is Greeley Bowl still sketchy? And what about the ski out? Is it better to hike out or ski along the creek? You can do that gully. I ended up doing it, which I didn't include in the vlog because of the camera wasn't fully set on it, but you can do it. And it actually was not as bad as I expected. So there will be now quite a lot of fallen trees and rocks that you'll see. But the thing that shocked me the most when I did it was you could see the actual river gorge that runs down that creek. So you could actually see the sort of the water and the boulders. So if you can traverse left before getting there, I know where the creek starts, there's the cat track, which you can hike up. So if you do end up getting down that side, I would recommend doing that. I don't plan on going to Greeley Bowl again until we get more snow. I will try and explore more of North Bowl tomorrow if we get the new snow. And then I'll just hang to the left and rejoin Stoke Chair or go around to the Ripper. Yeah. Meet the Neighbors and all of them. Vertigo. Honestly, Separate Reality, North Bowl and South Bowl, those are probably just where you want to stay right now until things get a lot better. And yeah, if the South Ridge wind comes with the snow as is forecast, it's going to blow everything into Separate Reality with a little bit into North Bowl. So those should probably be the best areas tomorrow. It's actually it's looking pretty good for snow chances early January. Oh, tell me more, mate. That's what we need. Is we just need, we almost need like 3-4 days of endless snow. Because if you backtrack to last winter, it was the Christmas week. It was 24th, 25th, 26th, where it snowed big time and people got Revelstoke. 5th to 6th of January could bring maybe 20 to 40 centimeters. Okay, now we're talking. But we're taking that with a pinch of salt, surely, because medium and long range forecasting right now has just been real tricky. And I wonder what the snowpack is like in the backcountry. There's a public info session actually on Thursday at the Legion, and they're doing an info session on the snowpack. So if I can go to that 6 p.m. I think it is at the Legion, I plan to go to that and get a bit more information, because eventually I'd like to get all my gear set up for touring. I'd like to go out there and figure it out and see, and get into that. There's not much agreement among weather models yet, but the average is somewhere near 30. Okay, in between. 30 centimeters is good. That's good. 30 centimeters fresh. Yeah. I mean, and after first week of January, it should be a lot quieter than the Christmas week here. Are conditions up in Rogers Pass any better? I haven't heard of many people going there lately. I haven't heard any normally. So when I, if I'm not working, my roommate next door is a trainee guide. He's not back from one of the cat skiing lodges yet, so I haven't heard the lowdown from him. And I haven't heard of any real sort of stories around town of people touring lately. So that leads me to believe that there's not much going on. Heli ski companies are definitely not flying right now. So there's this public info session in town on Thursday for the snowpack, which I think is going to be information about what it's like up in Rogers Pass and some of the other places. So come back to me on that one probably next week. If I can go live next weekend, I will probably discuss that more and tell you what I've learned. I know the sledders are about. I know there's plenty of sledders up on Boulder. 9th of Jan, potentially a storm, and 13th to 14th, but I have no idea how much each will bring. Yeah, I mean, looking 10 to more than 10 days ahead right now, especially for Revelstoke, is pretty challenging, but appreciate you bringing us all these updates on that. It's looking forward to it. Always, it's positive stuff from what I'm hearing for you, mate. So it's just gotta hope. I mean, sometimes you wake up and there's been a surprise snowfall. That'd be great if we could have one of those sometime soon. What's crazy is, like, normally there's somewhere might not be getting a lot of snow, but then somewhere else might be. And I don't know anywhere right now in Canada or North America where they're getting tons of snow. Do you know, like last year it was California and it was Utah. So places like Mammoth and Tahoe and all these places were getting like tons and tons of snow, more than anywhere else. And I don't know anywhere on this side of the Atlantic. Like Europe seems to have had a real good start. I know there was a little bit of a blip the other week with rain, but it seems like Switzerland's had loads, France and Austria. Hoping for decent conditions by the time I go out there on the 15th. Yeah, you got two and a bit weeks. So things, like I say, hopefully if January does come through, because I don't think it would take much for them to open up some of these other areas, like because of the way that, you know, we had that wet period, that warm and wet period not too long ago, and then the freeze again. So that's actually really hardened the snowpack, I believe. And now we just need the snow on top of it. I'm good with most of the bottom being pretty bad. Just want the good stuff at the top to be soft. Yeah, sure. And like, it generally is. It's just pretty tracked out right now. Like, you could still ride some good stuff in the bowls. The glades, certainly on the south facing side, look pretty tracked out. One or two of the runs under the chair as well. Like, that was very mogly, but you could still, ride it. Yeah, it was just the groomers today felt quite slick. Non-skiing question: have any new restaurants opened in Revelstoke this year? I read that the Explorer Society is now a private heli skiing hotel. So in answer to the first part, no, there's no new restaurants. I'll tell you now that the Mac Tavern up at the resort has got a really good menu this year. There's a bit more sort of like a wholesome meals that you can eat there. They're doing a brisket, which is really good after a day on the mountain. So yeah, especially if you're staying up at the Sutton there or the resort, that's a good one to do after a day on the mountain. Probably the newest one will be Salt Street, which opened up last winter, and that's a South Korean restaurant / pub, I guess, which is really cool, like really good place. It used to be, was it called the Grizz Pub? I think it used to be called the Grizz Pub. It's on the corner opposite Red Apple, near Trail Tire. So yeah, nothing new yet, but Mackenzie Village, where which is like in between the town and the resort, where there's a lot of condos. The new section of that, which completed construction this autumn, they've built what would you call them? Like, they built units at the bottom section of all of those, which they have available for private for businesses. And I think the kind of the push there is they want to give them to local businesses that are expanding, which is awesome. There's already a sign gone in that there's a liquor store going to be coming up on that section, because Revelstoke already has quite a few liquor stores, but why not add another? But I would assume there's going to be other stuff going in there, like restaurants. We've just not heard anything, any names confirmed yet. And what was the last bit? I read that the Explorer Society is now a private heli skiing hotel. So it was bought by an American company called 11 Experience, and they run various properties in sort of adventure and skiing all around the world, France, New Zealand. And then I think either they're owned by the same company or they have a partnership with Kingfisher Heli. So the hotel is exclusive to the heli ski clients, yes, but the restaurant, the Quartermaster, is open to the public still. That is the one place I've not actually eaten in town. I don't think. Yeah. Seoul Street, yeah, it was the Grizz, and it was pretty gritty. I was in the Korean spot last winter and it was pretty good. Yeah, I was in there the other night. Was hoping to have my favorite draft of Sapporo beer, but they didn't have it on right now, so just went for Asahi. But it was nice that there's a good mixture there, but they do need more, right? They gotta get in more eventually. It's just things in Revelstoke take a very, very long time. Yeah, I know that with the eventual completion of the new hotel at the base of the resort, that Selkirk Tangiers heli skiing are going to move in there. That is what I think is sort of been publicly known. And There is going to be a restaurant in there, which I think is going to be a chop, which is like a steakhouse. I think that's confirmed. I mean, it would make sense. It's all owned by the same company, right? So one of their hospitality brands. Yeah, I think that's what's been put out there. Steakhouse would make sense. I don't know. It's still a long time to wait and see how that affects sort of wait times for food in town. The only other big thing I think I've seen is, so I don't know, Freedom Rider, if you've ever had a beer in Rumpus, which is like this really cool little microbrewery around the corner. So they do about 4 or 5 different sort of style of beers. And I believe they're actually extending their premises to the next door bit. So that's going to be a bit easier. I think that Parmigi's Kitchen is one of the best and most interesting restaurants around. Yeah, I know Goldie who runs that place. We're actually doing a bit of partnerships with them and our local cricket team. So actually, I'll show you this because this is quite cool. So this is they've agreed to sponsor our local team. So Pam's Kitchen, as we affectionately know it. Got that right there on our shirt for next year. But yeah, do you know what I love about Pam's is that they've infused their experiences. So, obviously they've grown up in India and then they spent a large period of time in Germany. So it's a blended restaurant, and you can get your Indian style foods, but then on that same menu you get your you can get your Wiener Schnitzel with your Spätzle and all that type of thing. So yeah, it's a cool vibe, and it seems like quite a the service there is really good. Yeah, we went in there for our end of season meal, and yeah, lovely people, and yeah, I'd highly recommend going in there. Good tasting food. Very cool. Yeah, thanks, man. It's working on that for the summer 2024. Pretty exciting. Yeah. Butter chicken schnitzel is fantastic. No arguments there. So when we had the meal, I went for the Indian style food. I thought, you know what? I'm up for something different here. It's predominantly Indian themed, and I want to obviously take sample their recipes. And then the buddy opposite me had the schnitzel, and I was like, oh man, I should have gone for that. And it's smelled amazing. It was good, like good big size schnitzel as well. I'm just trying to think what else Frevi really needs from a food point, I mean, there's a couple of businesses that are up for sale, and they've been up for sale for a while. Like I think the Hong Kong restaurant is up for sale. The wine bistro, I feel like that's been up for sale for ages. Got to head out now. Freezing levels should stay low for the next storm cycle and should be able to run the snow guns at night. So the bottom might get a lot better. Yeah, that's what it does look like it's going to be cold sort of past this weekend. So that's good. Thanks. It's always good to have you on, buddy. Thanks for the update. Have you been to the Vietnamese restaurant in town? Is it any good? Short answer is no. And I actually didn't know we had a Vietnamese restaurant. Now I've got to Google that. Oh, Sincero Cafe. Oh, that's the one right next to opposite the yoga studio, next to the washing up place. No, I've not eaten there. No, but it always seems to do pretty well, and I think it's well placed right next to the sort of the public facilities that a lot of people use. I actually think they might be owned by the same people, those two businesses, which would make, which is a great idea. I think I heard that from somewhere. Yeah, no, I haven't eaten a Freedom Rider. I tell you what, one thing I was talking about with some guy on the chairlift today is that one thing, Revelstoke has a couple of food trucks. There's a couple of different ones. There's a Japanese food truck. There's another one which might also be Vietnamese. And then there's at least a third one somewhere. And every time I see them, they have to move around different parts of Revi at different times, right? Which, I mean, I'm sure they post all the schedules, but I thought it got me thinking about my time in Niseko. Now, if you Google Gran Hirafu in Niseko, one of the main things you'll all see on like Facebook or Instagram or anything like that is the court where they have all the food trucks, and they're there permanently, like every single night, 6 or 7 of them. And there are all these vans with different things like an oven pizza inside the back of a van. One's doing fish and chips, one's doing bagels and, baps, and another one's doing that. And I just thought, like, if someone had the commercial space and the licensing to do it all, get all of those food trucks in one place in Revi, and it would be such a cool and unique thing. We don't have any takeaways. The only thing that you actually have like for late night food is 7-Eleven, right? So everyone goes in there. But if you had like these vans and they could stay open later, I think that would make a really cool thing to experience from a food perspective, add a bit of character to that side of the industry as well, give them a natural space. I wonder if someone's thought of it before. But it just seems like any permits that are given in Revelstoke, it's like you have to shut very, very early. And I think that's the sort of the small sleepy town vibe, which I love to bits. But it's like in winter, like you're getting a couple of thousand more people in on a weekly basis. Keep it open, Don't know if you've ever skied at Red Mountain. They have a super cool lodge near the topping lift made out of shipping containers that contains a taco truck. Oh, no, I haven't been there, but I love food container trucks, that whole like food container things. They're really popular at like events in the UK, but that sounds like a brilliant idea. And like converting a container costs far less, right, than having a restaurant, so it's like, and it's just, it's a cool vibe atmosphere. I've always enjoyed every single one that I've been to. Super cool lodge near the topping lift made out of shipping containers that contains a taco truck. Nice. I've not skied Red Mountain. Red is on my list this year. However, I am seriously reconsidering that now because of the snow. Like Red, I think they were closed up until very, very recently. I think they only opened up maybe last week. Similar thing with Whitewater. It's no better over there from what I hear. So my plan was to bank a lot of these stat days and then go do a 3-4 day trip out that way to do some proper filming. But I'd rather save those stat days and maybe do just do more days of touring when I can. Of course, that could all change. Yeah, Red has no snow. It only opened a few days ago. Yeah, that's weird. But I've heard so many good things about Nelson as a town, in particular. Not so much Castlegar, but like especially like Nelson. Everyone said that's a really nice town to go into. Jacob, thanks for joining, mate. I fly out to Revelstoke tomorrow night. So excited. Awesome, buddy. I'm hoping the snow arrives for you tonight, so you got a little bit of fresh for when you arrive. Maybe some as well on Monday. We don't know, but yeah, looks like it was a little bit warm today, but it looks like we're getting back down to colder temps. So I'm sure they'll be trying to get the cannons working on the lower parts and try and open more of that. But yeah, for the moment, it's sticking high for the better conditions. But Not sure where you're flying out from, but hopefully the travel goes straightforward. I'll make the best of it either way. That's what I'm talking about, mate. I love that. I love that enthusiasm. Yeah. It should hopefully be a little bit quieter into next week than this, but yeah. And as I said earlier on, like the bowls are still pretty good. Is there any snow in town? Yeah, I mean there's snow on the ground, but it's it's nothing like what we might have before. I mean, like my landlord's used the snow blower twice, I think, this year. So yeah, it's lying on the ground. It's cold in town, but it's a thin layer. It's like the pathways are all clear. You can walk around town pretty easily. I mean, it's still worth having big, heavy, juicy boots on, just for rocks and mud and all that type of stuff. But yeah, it's not piling up. It's not snowed in town since, I'm going to say, at least 2 weeks, possibly even 3. That's how long it's been. It's been a while. It's been a while. And yeah, I don't know, like with this snow coming, they're saying a little bit of flurries in the valley maybe, but yeah, if you like, if you toggle on the resort website between Alpine forecast and Valley forecast, then you can get information on town. So Valley forecast, it's saying tonight in town, 30% chance of flurries. Maybe so they think the snow tonight's going to come around midnight, saying in town maybe 2 centimeters and then another 2 to 4 centimeters tomorrow morning. But I don't know. It says flurries. That flurries doesn't instill me with confidence, because flurries can just blow over and not accumulate to anything. It doesn't say like snow. Do you know what I mean? And Monday, it's saying in town high plus a 3. So I don't know. Like I've heard from some people that you do get these years where there's just very little snow in town. I mean, it happens, right? I've seen it myself in previous places, but yeah. But as Jacob said, you're making the most of it either way. And yes, I mean, the snow is what a lot of people here come for, but there's more to the Revelstoke experience. Like just talking with Freedom Rider there about the food, of course, the people, the scenery is just out of this world. Like that, the picture of this thumbnail, I took that today. So that's just off the top of one of the Gondis, one of the nearby the chair. Are Selkirk heli flying? Nope, no one's flying right now. Kingfisher aren't flying. I mean, CMH have a lot of terrain, but yeah, but I don't know of anything local. Yeah, just, again, like I need to see what the verdict is on the snowpack, but yeah. I'll pick my roommate's brains when he's back from the cat skiing lodge. Do you ever do any on mountain guiding? I myself, no. I mean, I'm not a guide. I'm not an instructor. I work in sales downtown. But Rob, thanks for commenting. No, I don't myself. I'd like to think the vlogs hopefully provide a bit of a guide to the mountain, but yeah, happy to answer any questions you've got on the mountain. The instructors at Revelstoke are real good. They've got a good, strong team. So they don't offer like a guiding, like a comp guide service that you might find at like your big whites or anything like that. Like, the hosts. I don't think we have that service yet, although I wouldn't be surprised in future. But yeah, you just, if you hired as like a private lesson for a while, they could take you around. But are you planning to visit, Rob? Have you been before? Yeah, I wonder what the heli skiing situation is going to be like this winter. Because at some point, and eventually, they're going to have they're going to have to try and get people out there. Because I can't imagine the amount of money the heli skiing companies are losing right now. You know, by not flying. Rob is coming in 3 weeks. Awesome. Awesome, Rob. Well, I hope by that point, you know, a little more of the mountains open and you can kind of explore it a lot more. Yeah, it's a wonderful place. You're going to love it. I'm not. Is it your first time, Rob? First time to Revelstoke? I'm riding on my own, so there are places that are a little bit intimidating to explore on my own. Yeah, I could understand that. I mean, I've been 4 times before. Okay. So you know the mountain a little bit then. I mean, yeah, I can understand why there's certainly parts that are intimidating, especially with the steepness. What bits do you like to explore, Rob? And I guess, yeah, what bits do you find intimidating? If you ski or hike over to Montana Bowl, is the terrain similar to South Bowl? I've only ever gone as far as Jalapeno, but worried about the out of bounds aspect. The first bit, as you go through the gate there and go into Montana, the first section of the bowl there is very similar, I would say, to kind of like North Bowl. You know, like there's glades. It's a little bit of alpine at the top, and then it goes into glades, and then as you get to the bottom of that, you eventually come to a point where there are a lot of markers that say "Do not pass," and then you have to go hang right, and then you come across a little bit of a cat track, and then it gets very, very narrow, and it's not like a gorge. It's almost like, I don't know, just like a footpath, you know, like a very wide footpath, but it's yeah, not right now. The terrain of that is not easy to get back through. Really, it's just sort of, you know, you're riding up and down through sort of trees and a little bit of a path, but it's good, that first section. Now, beyond that, I guess what you'd maybe consider the deeper part of Montana Bowl, I've not explored yet. I've not explored it because I've not been with anyone who's been that far yet, so I'm not going to go on that on my own. I'd want to go with someone who's done it. A lot of people do go touring over that way, and I would want to do that with with someone. And someone asked me this the other day, actually, in a comment on the video, if when I go over that way, do I take my Avi gear? I don't, because at the moment I'm just literally on the other side, close to or on the other side of the rope. But if I was to venture further into that, I would take my Avi gear. Like, if you actually Google it, you'll see that Chris Rubens, the pro skier, went with a group of guys over that way end of season last year, past Montana Bowl, and Luckily, no one was hurt, but one of them did get caught in an avalanche. So, yeah, it is an area in Montana where that can happen. And in Montana Bowl this year is where they're actually doing a big section of the natural selection tour. So rather than having that deep somewhere in Rogers Pass, I think they're actually doing it off the mountain there. Yeah, for the big pro borders. So, the terrain is there, and you've just got to make sure you come back in bounds at the respective point. Literally, the bit right on the left hand side is on the other side of Jalapeno is very, very similar to Jalapeno. It's just once you push further out, and when you do get through that narrow bit of a traverse, Freedom Rider, then you do eventually come back onto the cat track at the base of Jalapeno, and then you just follow that back round until you rejoin the Stoke. So Conifers of is that Guardia or Conifers of Narnia? Because I think Narnia is that one just to the side, or in between the Stoke and the gondola, right? And then you can merge into Kill the Banker from there. Sub Peak, I love. Are these the places that you find intimidating, or are these the bits which you enjoy, Rob? Certainly, I can get why Conifers and Narnia can be a little bit intimidating. You definitely have to go down that bit. I think Sub Peak, less so much. Yeah, if you're with other people. What I would say, Rob, because I know it sounded like you were visiting on your own. I mean, the locals here are super friendly, as you probably know. If someone would go up with you, if you see someone like hiking up Sub Peak, can you just say, "Hey, can I tag along?" I'm sure they wouldn't mind. But yeah, okay. So those are the areas you haven't explored. Okay. Okay. So the beautiful thing, so Sub Peak is good because it literally gives you a full 360 option. So you can drop back down onto South Side, into South Bowl, into some of the main runs that are on that side. Or North Bowl or Greeley Bowl from the top there, or you can like hang back over and join into Separate Reality. The views on a clear day of there into Rogers Pass, spectacular. And yeah, Conifers of Narnia is definitely a no-go right now. I mean, if the way this keeps going, like Kill the Banker is not going to be open this winter unless things change drastically. Yeah, I'm not touching anything on that side right now. Sub Peak to South Bowl is easier than going down back into North Bowl. I'd agree with that. Yeah, because then you can just rejoin the runs. You do have to watch a little bit of the Cornishes on the South Bowl side. Certainly at the first section. If you push over a little bit, then it widens out. And then you can. The nice one is if you get in that wide section of the bowl and then just rejoin Hot Sauce. And if Hot Sauce is not too Mowgli, whether it's been groomed or it's got fresh powder on it, that's a super fun one to do, especially going into the glades next to it, which is it Tally-Ho or Still Life? Tally-Ho. That'd be Tally-Ho Glades. Right. Oh, I don't know if you can see that. Yeah. Those are usually some of my go-tos on the first runs, and I've barely been in them. I think I showed a little clip in the vlog after Hot Sauce and the Mowgli bit, and then I went in the lower section of Tally-Ho, and you were just riding around mountain bike trails. Like, you could still see all of that. So Tally-Ho. Tally-ho glades are great. You can keep going to the skiers right, and there's lots of fantastic lines. Yeah, I like how that one just keeps gradually descending. You know, there's not like there's any sharp. There's no real kind of like sharp vertical sections on that. You know, it is just like a gradual bit where you can keep riding all the way down. Yeah, I love that one. Actually, one of the coolest ones I discovered last year, and I really want to get the chance to do it again on a real good powder day, is the one directly behind the base of the Stoke chair. So I don't know whether that's considered Conifers of Narnia, because Narnia is a little bit more to the right-hand side, but that section directly below the Stoke actually has some pretty steep gradient, but the glades are really, really widened. So if the snow blows in there, I did it once or twice last year, and I was like, holy, how have I not? I didn't even go there in my first year. And yeah, it was wide, some real deep snow in there. And I just think a lot of people don't go in there because they just look at it, oh, it's some trees behind the chair, you know? What is that called? That's got to have a name, surely. Is it part of Conifers? Critical Path Glades. That's what that one's called. Yeah, Critical Path Glades. Easier glades than some off the Ripper, as it doesn't have the steep drops. Yeah, that's definitely what Tally-ho has. You do have a couple of steep sections on over in the Ripper, like a bit in back 40, from what I remember. Is it cliffy at all? I think that kind of leads into what Freedom Rider was just talking about. Probably the glades in Ripper, there's a little bit of cliffiness, but it's more just a, where would you have cliffy? I tell you what, Kill the Bank has cliffy, right? And so does Conifers of Narnia. And that's a no-go right now, Rob. Even in 3 weeks' time when you come, those are not going to be open. So, yeah. But things like Tally-ho glades, no, there's no cliffs. Still Life glades, there's no cliffs. Those are like glades that are in between groomers that are heading in the same direction to rejoin the Stoke chair. Those are not cliffy. Still Life and Tally-ho are good glades to sort of get, I think, comfortable into that type of terrain that you've not done yet. You know, like your Conifers of Narnia and your sub peak, like, you know, that's a good intro to sort of the style of stuff. And then I think what you could do if you kind of wanted to get used to it a little bit is, if you take a right off the Stoke chair and you head towards where Hot Sauce is, on that little track there, you could hike up a little bit further above where a lot of people start to do their touring, and just start a little bit higher on Hot Sauce from there. And then you get a good idea of what actually it's like coming down off the sub peak into South Bowl. The little gully on the right, the little gully off the right on Snow Rodeo to Still Glades is super fun. Oh, whereabouts on Snow Rodeo are you talking about? I'm trying to think where that is. That sounds familiar. Oh, yes. Sorry. No, I know the one. Yeah. It's like, so off the top where you've got the warming hut, you come down off that run, and then it's literally about 100 meters down on the right, like, yeah, the little gully. Yeah. That was where I tomahawked on the first run of this winter and kind of broke the GoPro. Brad, thanks for joining. Have you heard about the new freestyle mogul skier Ethan McDade coming out of Whistler, BC? I haven't. I got to be honest with you, Brad. My knowledge of professional skiers is pretty limited. I mean, I grew up watching downhill racing, so in terms of freestyle stuff, I don't know, especially on the northwest here. I mean, as you can tell from my accent, like I'm not originally from here, so if you ask me to name pro skiers, I'd be talking about Shemi Olcott or Dave Riding, Graham Bell, these type of people from when I was sort of growing up watching there. There's a Kiwi guy who I know is in town for doing IFSA. I think he's doing free ride stuff, which is Ben Hulme, Hulme. I know he's I think he's on sort of part of the free ride circuit somewhere, the world tour stuff. I've seen his YouTube videos doing a few runs. I'm sure there's plenty pro skiers in Revy right now. I'd love to get the chance to ski with a few of them just to see what it's like with them. But yeah, I'm not sort of obviously the one that everyone kind of knows here. You've got Chris Rubens, Travis Rice as a boarder. Everyone seems to like everyone loves Travis Rice. I've not watched. I saw his run from the natural selection last year. Like it's all on GoPro's feeds and all the drones following, and some of the stuff he was throwing. Now that was very cliffy. Yeah, if you want a cliffy run, Rob, search Travis Rice's snowboard run from last year. So I know stuff like a little bit, Brad, but yeah, my knowledge is quite limited on the pro skier front. Yeah, the gully off Snow Rodeo, yeah, bit of like a mini half pipe. Yeah, but even in that, there's still like trees shooting out. Seeing top of pine trees is just weird. It's very, very weird right now. I'm hoping to bring you guys some new camera angles in the vlogs coming forward. I treated myself to an Insta 360 for Christmas, so hoping to bring a little bit of that 360 madness to the vlogs. That will surely take me a little while to get used to editing. But yeah, looking forward to sticking that in the mixer and getting some different shots. Yeah, first time going away from GoPro. Had to be done. Try something new. If anybody's in Revy for New Year's Eve tomorrow, make sure to catch the fireworks at the resort. Also, I'm heading off to the Grizzlies, the ice hockey, junior ice hockey team, and apparently the arena is sold out for Christmas Eve. So that's going to be 1,000+ people watching junior ice hockey locally. I don't think you get many junior hockey arenas that get sold out. That's one of the perks of Revy as a town, especially in the winter with the crowd that come here. That's one of, if you're wanting a good night in the winter in Revy, go to a hockey game with a group of people, and then go to the pubs afterwards. It's a good mix, and there's a section for the families on one side, and then the beer gardens on the other. So there's a non-drinking side, and then there's that's one thing I like. I've not been this year actually. I don't even know how the Grizzlies are doing, but they I think they've been on the road for quite a bit. But fireworks starting around 7 p.m. tomorrow, I think, so relatively early. yeah, it's not fireworks at midnight. So no doubt people will be letting them off. We'll probably have some more fireworks outside here where I live again, like that earlier live stream. Am I heading to the Village Idiot tonight? I'm not, mate. Tonight I'm having I've just finished work. I'm having a quiet night and a quiet drink, and then yeah, tomorrow night will be a big one for New Year's Eve for sure. But no, I was in Village Idiot earlier in the week actually, and yeah, they had a good IPA on the draft there. I'm just trying to think where it was from. Might have been a Fernie one. It was a good draft IPA. I'm going to do one last refresh of the snow forecast tonight, and I'm hoping that there's been no changes. I'm not trying to tempt fate here. One last one here, and then we're going to call it here, guys. One thing I'll read out actually something. So the backcountry conditions according to the resort website. In the backcountry, the warming temperatures from today will be affecting the weakness in the top of the snowpack first. Ensure you're monitoring the effects of the sun and the temperature as you're traveling. So that was today. They were actually doing some helicopter AVI control in Montana, upper south side, doors, and split milk today. So I'm assuming that's ahead of the natural selection tour. And yeah, luckily the forecast of 5 centimeters tonight and 5 centimeters tomorrow is still standing. And I'm happy with that. So yeah, last live stream of 2023. There's a little video coming out tomorrow, a little gear video. I had a company send me a helmet, so that there will be a small little video going up tomorrow. Other than that, guys, I'm wishing you all a happy new year. If you are new to the channel, please make sure to hit subscribe. And yeah, like the video. And if you're watching this after we've gone live, of course, comment in the section and I'll get back to them. Freedom Rider, thanks for doing the live stream. Lots of great info and chat. Happy New Year, and may see you on the slopes when we go to Revi this winter. Leaving for Fernie in a few days and looking forward to it. Appreciate you always joining on, mate. And yeah, I'm really enjoying the chats with all of you guys on these, and let's keep them going into 2024. Happy New Year to you, mate. Happy New Year, everyone. See you in Revi sometime soon. All the best, guys.